Oh, thank you. Obviously, season ends tomorrow and we're still playing, so that's got to be a good thing. And looking forward to an opportunity to play in the championship game for the national tournament.
Questions for Coach, if you would put your hand. Todd, you're first.
Mark, what similarities, do you see between yourself and Northeastern from what you've been able to see? I don't know if you got a chance to see yesterday's game or when they played on Monday.
Yeah, I mean, you look at their roster and, some of their difference makers and the kids that lead their team. And, obviously their top line with a couple of their defensemen, have been really good the whole season. And obviously when they go, their team goes. They've only lost one game early in the season. Obviously they're playing with a lot of confidence. They showed a lot of bite, a lot of fight yesterday after being down a couple goals to come back and win in overtime. So good team, certainly worthy of being in the national championship game.
Nicole, your question.
Mark, Minnesota Duluth did a really good job of pressuring them through those first two periods, but obviously then sort of started to fall off in the third. I was curious what you guys take from that and how you've talked about being able to complete that full 60-minute game against Northeastern.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to have success, you have to do it for 3 periods, because, they have some kids that can change the momentum, can change the game real quickly. And, you have to be able to contain them or, do things necessarily to give you the best chance to win. And, you have to do it for 3 periods. And so, the big thing will be is, as the game starts, who can manage the nerves, understanding the magnitude of the game and, who's going to maybe be able to score first and what that does to the game. Are there going to be a lot of penalty? I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it, but obviously the first thing that we concerned about is, making sure that we take today and, we try to recover as best we can and put ourselves in a position tomorrow to come out and play the way we've been most of the season. You're looking for that consistency right now, and hopefully we can take that into tomorrow evening's game.
Mike, your question.
Yeah, Coach, obviously it's not a team that you get to face very often, but you did have that one game last year, that close overtime win. I was wondering, what you were able to take away from that game from last year and, how that has maybe helped you in preparing for this Northeastern team.
Yeah, it's too far back in the past. They got different personnel and, we've got different personnel and, that was a fun tournament to be involved in. As you mentioned, it's fun to play teams outside of our league, especially the teams that, have been very successful the last several years. And Dave's done a good job of, elevating Northeastern's program. And, he put together a real good team this year. So that's ancient history. What's most important is, for the players on our side to get mentally and physically ready to, compete at a high level, understanding that they have to do that for 60 minutes and throw everything into the game. And hopefully it's going to be enough to get to the finish line.
Todd, back to you.
Mark, your team's been in 9 of these championship games. This is the first for Northeastern. How much weight do you put on that experience factor, knowing a lot of your players haven't been in this situation before, if it's their first or second year, but you do have some veterans that have been through all of this before?
Yeah, I mean, experience and whatever you're doing should help you just from a mental standpoint. And so, the message is to try to come out and, play like we've played all year. We've asked at the beginning of the year to try to find that consistency from every weekend and every game that we play. And, usually if you're consistent throughout the season, you're going to end up having a pretty good year. And, this game's no different. You got, you're not going to change a lot of things. It's about, getting yourself mentally ready to, play the best game of the season. And, collectively, if you have everybody on the bench looking that direction, you go out and play with some energy and do a lot of the little things, hopefully the game will settle down and, we start to do some positive things and build some confidence within the 60 minutes that we're, going to address tomorrow night. But it should be a fun game. I mean, the players, there's no need to be nervous. They've earned the right to be here. It's been a challenging year for, everybody in college sports, and to get to play in the national championship game this year is pretty special. So, hopefully we can take advantage of it and look back on it with great memories.
George, your question?
Coach, you mentioned that this has been a bit of a challenging year, obviously. Last year with the tournament getting canceled, that's been kind of a big thing that's come up a lot for Northeastern as a motivator, losing out on that chance to play in the tournament last year, particularly in Boston. I was wondering, from your guys' perspective, you had the chance to go, back to back. I was wondering how much of a motivator for you this year that canceled tournament has been.
Well, I mean, everybody was disappointed last year. I mean, I thought the position we were in, the way the bracket came out, going to host Clarkson in the quarterfinal game, we felt very comfortable and confident, with us going into the tournament. But then all of a sudden on a Thursday, it's taken away from you. And so it leaves an empty feeling and disappointment for everybody on our team, especially our seniors who, worked hard and long. And I'm sure Dave had a couple of those kids where all of a sudden, the most exciting part of the season, now it's taken away. So life teaches us lessons, both good and bad. And, it's a lesson learned by a lot of people. And so this year you don't take things for granted. And we've been fortunate enough a year later to have the tournament. Now we're going to have a championship game. So I think everybody in women's college hockey and our fans throughout the country are going to be excited to get to the end.
Mike, to you.
Yeah, Coach, a real impressive game from your third line last night. I was just wondering, what areas of the ice, what parts of their game did you think they really excelled at last night?
Well, probably the last 6 or 8 games we've played, they've elevated their game. They've become better, what I call 200-foot players. A lot of times some of the kids you bring in that are freshmen, especially if they have offensive gifts, really never play a lot in their own end. And obviously when you get to college, you're going to have to be able to do that to have success. And so it's a learning curve. I mean, really, we've played half a season compared to what a normal year might look like. And so, it would be nice to have 20 more games with these kids because they've shown improvement. The last 6 or 8 games, they've really stepped their game up. And I was very happy for them, in yesterday's game because they got rewarded on what they've been able to do the last several weekends for us. And so hopefully that confidence that they came away from yesterday's game, springboards them into, tomorrow night's game. And they play the way they've played the last 4 or 5 weekends.
Josh Riley, your question.
Coach, obviously a different postseason this year with all 8 teams coming to one location. Tell me a little bit about just how the week has gone and how Erie has done as far as adjusting, getting all 8 teams here and trying, running a Frozen Four tournament.
Yeah, under the circumstances, I mean, we've not done this before. And so I think, the people here, along with the NCAA, have, done and you're restricted in some of the things that you might be able to do in another year, but everybody's been pretty much doing those type of things for a long period of time now. So you sort of wake up each day and look at your itinerary, figure out what you got to do, and approach it with a positive attitude, understanding that it's really a gift right now because last year we weren't able to do this. And so every day is precious, as we found out over the last 8 or 9 months. And we've been fortunate to have a season. Now we've had a playoffs. Now we've got the national tournament. So you credit the people in Erie because it's a challenge just with locker rooms and rinks and practice times and hotels and meals. I mean, there's a lot of things behind the scenes that the normal fan doesn't understand. And so the most challenging part is for the teams that are in our position where you're going to play 3 games in 5 days, and you're generally not used to that. So how you manage your time, how you manage your practices, how the players recover becomes a real vital part because when you get to the last game, the big thing is you want to play your best game of the season.